launch team. Today I'm joined by one of our Scalerator participants, Oelschlaeger from the Vistelar group. If you're not familiar with our Scalerator program, it's really an intensive 2-month sort of mini MBA program designed to help companies focus on growth and learn some best practices centered around what it takes to grow and expand a company. Today my conversation with Al will focus on his experiences in the Scalerator program. Al, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let's start out, Al, by just getting to know a little bit more about Vistelar. Can you give our viewers just a brief overview of your company?
Yep. We got started in 2009. Been doubling revenues every year. We're a global training company focused on the spectrum of human conflict. So that's everywhere from bullying to verbal abuse, crisis communications, all the way up to physical violence. So we have consultants all over the country that do training, live training, and then we're in the process of taking that training and moving it online. We have a, I just saw the screen change, very cool. We have in addition to online stuff, we do a lot of nonprofit work. For example, we're involved here in Milwaukee with the Violence Prevention Initiative, which is a $8.2 million grant from the Medical College of Wisconsin, focused on reducing youth violence here in the area. So we view ourselves as the leaders in conflict management in terms of training and education.
Absolutely, some very timely and somewhat difficult topics to have to deal with. So Al, what prompted you to apply to the Scalerator program?
Yep, you're going to have to say that again. You went.
Oh, sorry, Al. What prompted you to apply to the Scalerator program?
Yeah, it was I've been involved in economic development in the area since the early 2000s. Been around. I won't go through all the various things that occurred over that time, but there's been obviously a variety of efforts to try to grow this area and make it more entrepreneurial. And when I saw this, I just said, you know, this makes so much sense to focus on companies that already have revenues and try to scale them up to make them larger. That with the idea that that's a whole lot easier to move from $1 million to $2 million than it is to take startups from nothing and trying to turn them into $1 million companies. So it fit with who we were. That's certainly where we're at. We're in that revenue generation, but we certainly want to feel like we have big opportunities for growth.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Al. That's sort of the key of the whole Scale Up Milwaukee program, is really focusing on companies who have the existing revenues like Vistelar that can grow and that want to grow. And that was one of the big things that we focused on when we interviewed candidates for the Scalerator program. We wanted people who were motivated and committed to growth, just like you are. So for those of us that aren't really all that familiar with the program, Al, can you tell us a little bit about it? What are you learning? What topics are being covered?
Yeah, and again, your microphone went out there, Michael. Sorry.
Okay. What's being taught in the program? What are you learning in the program?
Yeah, so I think you said interesting. I think you said what topics are being covered, if that's
Correct,
right.
yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, so it's been. I mean, I think the coolest thing is that it's a variety of opportunities to learn and network and share, get visibility. The Scalerator program has been great, and that's been, what have we had, 6 sessions so far. We have another 2 next week. Mm-hmm. And it's been really focused in 3 areas. One was just classic sales and marketing, kind of a very, very well done marketing 101 course on how to develop your sustainable competitive advantage and that type of thing. And then we focus on how to, I'll use Les's term, raise resources for a business. He was big on saying it's not just money, it's resources to be able to grow. And that was a great session, and Les was unbelievable. And then we, in that next session, we focused more on sales and sales management, commission structures, how to hire salespeople, how to manage salespeople. So it's all been for me, very, very interesting. Usually you go to some kind of executive education, and it's a lot of theory and a lot of branding kind of stuff and logos and whatever. And this has been very, very focused on growth, raising resources, sales management, business models was another big topic.
Right. So what's been your one key takeaway?
It probably was how easy it is as an entrepreneur. It's one of the things we talked about when we had that that one conference where we had entrepreneurs and investors in the room. Because I mean, that's been the other side of this, is all the other opportunities to learn beyond just the educational programs. But it was this whole point that when you're an entrepreneur, it's so easy, and you're generating revenues. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of the business, and you're you're answering phone mail, voicemail, and doing work and dealing with staff and whatever, and just the opportunity to get off and say, it really is all about growth, and you need to spend part of your time just focusing on how do we grow this business, right, and then doing the things necessary to make that happen. So it's just, I think although it's not a specific educational point, but just that realization that you got to step back and look at your business and say, how do I grow this thing beyond what we're just kind of doing every day?
So have you thought, Bill or Al, about how you're going to take what you've learned in the Scalerator sessions and actually implement it at Vistelar?
Well, and that's actually what's going to happen next week, which is a very cool part of the program, is they've said, okay, let's get down on paper exactly what you're going to do in the first quarter of 2014 to grow the business. I don't have that all developed yet. I'm presenting next Wednesday, I think. Yeah. And the opportunity to get feedback from some very talented people. So I'm looking forward to that. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to meet with one of the professors and kind of do a pre-run through of that. But it's the idea is to take what we were going to do anyway, that was going to drive whatever forecast we had anyway, and then figure out a way to increase that by doing new things, sure, new additional things. So for us, I don't want to give you my 10-minute presentation for next week, but it's focused on really two big categories, probably sales, adding salespeople, and then compensating them appropriately, and thinking about just having more people on the street talking to customers. And then the second is a kind of a new business model for what we're doing that's going to take, I think, our revenues that we get through live training and really just give us a whole nother opportunity to generate ongoing continuity revenues that are going to continue rather than the one-off training revenues that we get now with our classes that we provide.
Right. So even thinking about a different model of how you're selling your business.
Exactly.
Right? So,
well, as you know, I don't know if you were in that session, but Les spent a couple hours on how new business models are what a lot of people are doing nowadays. They're taking an old concept that maybe it's been around 20 years ago and saying, okay, let's apply new models that are using technology or whatever to actually create new industries in some ways.
Right, and that's kind of been the interesting thing too, is that the advent of technologies, mobile, the internet, social media, things like that, open up those doors for new business models.
Yep, and if you're not stepping back from your business and thinking about that stuff, it's easy for it to just, kind of same old, and you just go, well, we're doing all the right things, but you really aren't stepping back and thinking about it.
Correct. So my last question for you, Al, today is kind of wanting to get your thoughts on how you feel the Scalerator can impact the overall entrepreneurial ecosystem in Milwaukee or Southeast Wisconsin or even the state as a whole.
Well, and as I indicated, I probably first got started back in 2000. I was actually one of the board members that created the first entrepreneur conference back in 2000, 2001. We actually seized the Day Award. I don't know if you're familiar with that. We actually came up with that concept back in those early days.
That's awesome.
So I've kind of seen economic development. I was part of the Milwaukee 7 development, and it's that focus on probably the simplest way to say it is that we've changed our language already from I'm a small or mid-sized business, which is what a lot of people say, to I'm a growing business.
Right.
And that it's all about growth. It's not about startups necessarily. It's not about entrepreneurism. I think Dan Eisenberg said, that Wisconsin's viewed as being, in the bottom of the pack in terms of entrepreneurism. He said it's a useless statistic. It doesn't matter. Right. Because an awful lot of startups fail. There's a lot of entrepreneurial activity ends up being one person, in a consulting firm, or maybe it's a restaurant with a couple of people, which are great businesses. But in terms of growth of employment, it's a whole different category. Right. Really, it's just in its own group. And I think those are the areas we need to focus. Is how do you take companies that have already proven they can get some revenue and then cause them to explode in sales?
Yeah. This is exactly what Scale Up Milwaukee is about, Al. You hit it right on the head, and I thank you for taking the time to meet with us today and to really tell us about your story. And we wish you the best with your growth journey, and hope that you'll come back in a future time and talk to us about how you're doing. So thanks.
Absolutely. Well, and Michael, I just want to say one other thing is that this thing has been very, very well run. And partly your responsibility. I know Maggie is in the background there. The food's been great. Everything's on time. The facility's been great. It's just been one of the better run programs that I've been involved in. So congratulations on that, and thank you for making that happen.
Well, thank you. It's been a point of pride for us, and I know Maggie, who, as you noted, is in the background here running this whole works for us, has been instrumental in making a lot of this happen, and it's through the efforts of the team as a whole that all this is working out so well. So again, Al, I want to thank you for your time today, and thank you all in the internet land for joining us. If you want to learn more about the Scale Up Milwaukee initiative, please visit scaleupmilwaukee.org or connect with us on Twitter and Google+. I also want to take a moment to thank our partners in this initiative. That's WEDA, the WEDC, the City of Milwaukee, American Express Open, and the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. So thanks again for joining us. Thank you, Al, and have a great day.
Thanks a lot, Michael.
Thanks.
Take care.